What is happening, team? We are back from Magi Fest. It is good to see you here. And today we are sharing our recap, our experiences, the good, the strange, and the insightful, all that happened for Magi Fest. So let me bring everybody in here. What's up, Jeff, Rick? I'm Caleb. How we doing, guys?
Doing good. Glad to be here. Back.
Good.
A little
Awesome,
tired
awesome.
still.
Still a little tired? Yeah, we were all a little feeling it, man. It was crazy. It was crazy. But we have some exciting things to talk about. A couple little video clip type things to share, and it's going to be great. So if you guys have any comments or questions, as always, put them in the chat, and we will address those. But first, we want to talk about the good. What was some of the coolest things we saw at Magi Fest? Now, remember, we were dealers at Magi Fest, so it was for me especially, it was a different experience being on this side of the dealer table. But we did get to see a little of the new stuff people have coming out. We had a couple new things we were releasing ourselves. And so we want to talk a little bit about those. Who wants to start? Jeff?
Well, about all the best effects and things like that.
Yeah, just cool stuff, new things, something new.
Yeah,
cool.
I will say that I was working the booth so much. I was so there and engaged and whatnot. And I most of the time, if somebody stepped away, I let you guys kind of go and wander. I didn't see too much. I was either chatting afterwards. I was chatting with other makers and vendors and talking about future stuff with the live stream and kind of just doing the networking stuff. Most of what I saw was myself performing or guys at the table. So my number one effect was by this man right here, Mr. Rick Holcomb. He was performing something new at the table. We're going to call right there. This guy right here, that guy. Is it on that side on yours? On yours? Is that
right? No, you're right. You're right.
Yeah.
This guy.
That was the number one effect for me. I mean, it just people from around the convention. I think every single person probably had the opportunity to see that performed, and it was phenomenal. It was awesome. Outside of the Copeland Coins table, what I saw, I made over see Brent Brom perform 4K color vision. That's a new marketed effect, and I would say that it was worth it. It was a good effect. It was strong and it was smart. So there you go.
There you go. That was a cool effect. What about you, Rick?
Well, right next to Brent Braun was this guy, Paul Richards, which a lot of you may know or you may not know. I hadn't heard of him until I came back home and I realized I had bought a trick from him years ago. That was called the Lone Stranger. It was like a kind of a prediction effect where one stranger card is the magician matches the selection to the stranger card. But so at his table, he had a bunch of different stuff, a lot of card stuff, some mentalism stuff, and even one or two coin tricks also. But a lot of sneaky methods and like just fun ideas. And I ended up buying a couple things from him. And yeah, overall, that was my type of magic, what he had going on there. So if you haven't heard of him, you might be able to locate some old videos, like product videos on YouTube and stuff like that. But the interesting thing was he doesn't sell the effects on his website, or he doesn't sell his effects through Murphy's or Vanishing or anything. He only sells his effects live and in person at conventions. So
yeah, that's interesting.
If you end up going to a convention and you see him, you're kind of getting these exclusive tricks that, not a lot of people might be doing these because you have to buy them directly from him.
Oh yeah,
I thought that was interesting.
He's been one of my favorite demo guys for a while. Him and Mark Mason, and Mark Mason was there too.
Yeah.
And Paul Richards and Mark Mason are just so polished demo guys. They're so good.
Yeah, some guys are afraid to be, as a dealer, I don't know if I share with you guys, they're afraid to be right next to Mark or somebody like Paul because they're like, well, they suck in all the traffic. Myself, I love being right across from them because it makes more traffic because we're demoing too. And so we get a huge traffic jam and like nobody can walk through. So everybody has to stop by the booth. So since we're a demoing table, not all dealers demo their effects really or are putting on shows like we do. But we had a double demo going on at that. I don't know if anybody else. I guess Penguin did, but Caleb was obviously demoing and doing what he could. But Rick and I on either end, where we could have basically we had 2 booths going at once. It's kind of cool.
Yeah, you guys were the main ones demoing stuff. And I wanted to, I got a little bit of video footage and things to show so everybody can see kind of what our view was. This is kind of our view from the dealer's room. So you can see, you know, we were kind of right there. As soon as you walk in, the door is right behind us. And we kind of had that's the door right there behind Rick. We had kind of an outward facing view. And there's all the dealers behind.
And there's probably a lecture going on right now because there's not many people at the table. So it was kind of slow time. That Caleb could pull out the camera. Most of the time Caleb's talking to somebody. I mean, we were busy.
Absolutely. It was very, very busy. And then we had this was some people on our Instagram would have seen this video. This was our what our booth looked like.
Ooh.
So we had a spread there, coin boxes, downloads, all of our coins and our silvers. Yeah, some of our original stuff. So we had a really, really great time. And we're gonna get into some of the stuff that we got to share there. Yeah, and Greg is saying the Hugo crayon trick that was from Paul Richards. That was a great trick.
Yeah,
it was like color changing knives, but with a crayon.
Yeah, that was like right.
Man, I missed that one. See, I should have walked over there. So you would have got my money on that. I'm all about kid tricks. Or maybe it's not a kid trick only. I don't know. But crayons. That's awesome.
Oh, it was great. Yeah. And then Greg also got to see Rick's coin box, which was fantastic. Yeah, I had 2 fantastic demo guys on either side of me. So I was just like, every time somebody would come to me, I would explain to them what we have. And then I would like either point to Rick is demoing over here or Jeff is demoing over here.
Yeah. But don't belittle.
I was doing all of I was doing all of Rue's stuff, by the way.
It was pretty awesome.
So what you saw was Rue's routine.
Yeah, Rooster was definitely present through Rick, but I mean that was kind of cool. We had multiple ideas. You know, I had Danny Goldsmith stuff kind of represent on my side, so I could talk about that and fiddle with it a little bit. He's a pretty phenomenal guy. But then so I was just saying, don't discount Caleb below because it wouldn't have worked without him because we were so busy that we could hand off payment and information to Caleb, and so it was a great team experience. So I'm very proud of these guys. And thank you for all your support. If you were there or if you can catch us at the next convention, we just appreciate your support coming by and saying hi. So I'll talk a little more on that a little bit with the next question, I guess.
Sure. It was a blast. And then, andLl share real quick, one of the coolest things I saw, there were some cool little tricks in the dealer's room and stuff, but we were working so much, we didn't get to see much of the actual lectures and shows, but we got to pop out a little bit. And we saw the last Gala show on Saturday night. And there was the Evisons. If you've never seen the Evisons, they're like a mind reading duo act, a husband and wife. And she stands on stage with a blindfold and he just goes out into the audience and grabs objects from people's belongings. And she can describe the objects without ever seeing them.
Insane. It's really insane.
Incredible. And they did this one where they described, and as they were pulling people up, she was also telling them the names of the people that they were pulling up, first and last names. It was just wild. And they pulled this one guy up, and he had a playing card or something, and they go, "Oh, but also you have something in your pocket. Just think about which pocket it's in." And she told him, "Oh, it's the left pocket." And he's like, "Yeah." So he pulls it out, and it was a box of cigarettes. So nobody said anything. And she guessed, this is something that you take like on a break. Like, I think this is cigarettes, right? And remember, she's blindfolded, so she can't see anything. And it's like, yeah, this cigarettes. She goes, "I'm going to guess how many cigarettes are left in the box." And I don't know if Jeff heard me, but at that point I was like, no. And she nailed it, man. She said 5. He opened it up and counted, and there was 5 cigarettes left. And that was just
crazy.
Mind blowing.
Yeah. And it's not electronics. It's not that kind of stuff. Like it's legitimate, like hardcore, serious vein. It's a different vein of magic. I mean, so it's not like they're not using electronics to communicate this kind of stuff. They're very brilliant entertainers. So you get a chance to check them out. Yeah.
Yeah. The Evisons is who they are.
Yeah. So were a lot of the acts. We just didn't catch them. We didn't get to see them all.
Oh yeah. There was tons of great stuff. We got to see let's see, who do we get to see? We got to see Aussie Wind
Aussie
perform.
Wynn do his full one-man show.
Yeah, and in
Top
the
shelf.
Gala show. Yeah, and in the Gala show, we got to see Danny Cole and his wife. I don't remember her name. And then we saw
Lucy Darling.
Lucy Darling.
The guy out of Reno. Alex Ramon.
Alex Ramon, yeah, Alex Ramon. Which he had a
Mhm.
nice act with his dog.
Yeah. And then the guys that stole the show, the passing zone.
Gosh, the passing zone. Whew.
Yeah.
Wow.
That was one of the most fun parts of the convention, was sitting next to Jeff, hearing him die laughing like the entire passing zone.
I'd seen every magic act, I think, on stage, or at least up to that point. And then so this was like completely fresh and new jokes, stuff that was written for the pandemic. It was fresh material. Like you could tell they were writing to the date. They had fresh material. And so like I'd never heard it before. I was just laughing out loud. I was losing it.
Oh yeah.
I always appreciate that when a show is scripted for the day, for the moment, for the week. And those guys nailed it.
That's like what we were talking about a couple weeks ago. Scripting is like, not only can you have the basic script, but then you can write new stuff for that particular period of time, that particular show. And that was, I think we all thought, I won't do it justice, but there was a really funny joke where he dropped like a juggling club or something. And he's like, "Oh man, again." And so he had this polka dot shirt on, and his partner whipped out this little sticker pack that was like perfectly matching stickers. And he's like, "Every time you drop, we put another sticker on the shirt." And he added a new polka dot to his shirt, and it made perfect sense. It was so funny.
It was perfect. I mean, that drop had to have been script just to make sure they got that gag in or something. It was unreal.
Oh,
it was so good.
Great.
Yeah.
So that's the good. That's some of the good that we saw at the convention. Oh, and one more thing good that we saw that was pretty cool was we had, one of the leaders of coin magic hanging out at our booth, Mr. Eric Jones, right there. You can see him in all his glory. That's him playing around with our new Tiger Tan shell, which is one of the things that we debuted at the convention. And you can see it was great having a nice little chat with him. And
yeah, Eric's a good guy. We couldn't get him for long enough. That's the only problem with Eric always. I think he flew out the next day because I didn't see him around the convention.
Right.
Much more.
But it was really good seeing him, yeah, for sure. And everybody after his lecture, everybody was running to our booth, for coin gimmicks. Because obviously he, is the master of coins there. So
thank you, Eric.
It was awesome. Yeah, thank you. So that was the good stuff. Let me just see a couple things people got in here. Yeah, Danny's wife is Stacy. Yeah, Danny Cole's wife, Stacy. And we didn't meet Ken Weber, but I saw him passing by.
Caleb is a master identifying people by the eyes because everybody's wearing masks. I mean, that was required. Ohio state law, you had to wear masks. And so Caleb kept pointing people out just by recognizing their eyeballs. It was really phenomenal. He was like, "There's Ken Weber." I was like, "What?" Okay. He found me in the airport in Baltimore, Maryland. Randomly, we same connecting flight. Why you go from Houston to Baltimore back to Columbus? I have no idea, but that's what Southwest did. And so Caleb spots me in the airport, and then he spots Scott Wells, and so we enjoy the next flight together. We record a Magic Word podcast. I mean, it's all because Caleb can see, read people by the eyes. It's just amazing.
I don't know. I picked him out. I was telling him that story was funny because I was about to board my flight, and I saw this really tall guy. Mind you, I haven't met Jeff in person in 4 years, so it's been a long time. I saw this really tall guy with a hat, and I'm like, that looks like. No, there's no way. And then I saw the Tiger Tan ring. He has this ring made out of our coin. And I was like, that's the guy. There's Jeff. So yeah, that was a special thing too, because we got to record a podcast on the airplane with Scott Wells. So you can see Copeland Coins featured on that podcast, the Magic Word.
Yeah, I think it went live maybe Thursday. So if you haven't checked out the Magic Word, check it out.
Yeah. And I didn't see Steve Valentine there. I just didn't see him at all.
I didn't see him at all. I didn't know he was there. I think he would have stood out, but
that's wild.
I also heard David Williamson stopped in.
He lives in Ohio, but I didn't see him, man. So he usually stops in no matter what, but I did not see him.
Wow, that's cool. Yeah. Well, we saw a lot. There was a lot of people there I did not expect to see. Um, that was really cool. And some of the guys that were really intrigued with some of the new things that we had. We had, the copper silver that we were really excited about, and so some of those working pros were really into getting that. So that was
Yeah,
really cool.
that was an exciting thing, and I wish you guys could have been there for that, because for me, this was the first time at convention the copper silver, the coin box had been there, and to see working pros purchasing those things, stopping by, that's always a good thing when a pro stops by your booth and purchases something, and to hear the comments, the feedbacks, because people haven't been able to handle them, and they're just you get the reviews on the website, and hopefully those you read through them, everybody's raving about the quality and everything. But yeah, for people to handle them, we sold a lot. It
Oh
was
yeah,
that was refreshing to like get immediate feedback on the products. So,
for sure, for sure. It was awesome. So that was the good. Now we want to talk a little bit about some strange things that
ooh.
happened at Magi Fest. What was some strange things? Um,
Caleb, you go first this time. You never get to go first.
Sure, thank you. I'll go first. What was strange for me, one of the strange, there's a few things that happened that was strange, but one of them was all of a sudden, now we mentioned that there was a juggling duo at this convention, but that was not until the last night that they were revealed. And so all throughout the convention, there was this one guy who kept juggling clubs, and he was just kind of like this street juggler, looked like, and he was just juggling clubs in the hotel. I mean, pretty high and everything, like legit. And then on the last day, they broke out of this whole like juggling training session. It looked like, and there was people juggling balls and clubs and all contact juggling with the ball, with
Yeah.
the clear ball, and
Is
everything
this
was
like
going.
coming out of the pandemic? Because when I was a kid, or when I was much younger, first time I was going to Magic Convention, there were no coin magic tables. And now, like, we can get a whole table jamming coin magic. Like, it's phenomenal to see it kind of coming back, and hopefully our business is part of some of that revival. But previous years, it was always the flourishers here recently. There's always flourishers. There's some jamming. I didn't see a single flourish. But what I did see was a bunch of juggling.
There was a lot of juggling. There was guy. I mean, it was just crazy. It looked like a little sideshow sector that was happening at the top of the elevator or escalator there. So
I
that was my
almost
strange
joined
moment.
in myself.
It was cool. What about you, Rick?
Well, one thing that was interesting for me, or kind of cool, I guess you said strange. It was
Yeah.
strange, but it was cool. If anyone's heard of Anthony Gerard, and well, I walked out, he had a booth and everything. And I'd never met him, but I've heard of his classic force.
It's
So
legendary.
taking the opportunity to meet him in person, I walked over and I said, I've been wanting to see your classic force. Like, he then continued for 20 minutes to force the card on me over and
You got a
over,
short
face
session.
up, face down.
He forced on me for
But
an
then
hour.
he showed me this. He showed me this other cool. I don't know what to even call it. It's basically a card revelation, where a little styrofoam cup and then a strip of plastic adhered to that. And by running your nail down this strip of plastic, it had ridges in it, and it vibrated at, such a way that inside the cup a human voice like resonated, and it revealed the card you picked. And I was like, it was so eerie and cool at the same time. Like, I just thought of all the possible presentational ideas you could wrap around that, and I'd never seen anything like that.
Yeah, because I mean, there was no batteries, no electronics. It was just old school phonographic technology. It was pretty cool.
Yeah.
A lot of his stuff was weird, strange like that. Like he was
I
just
don't think Anthony's a guy that would mind if you called him strange or weird.
no, like in a good way. Like he
In a
had this
good
kind of
way. That man
kooky,
is awesome. Yeah.
kooky look about him, and he had like a million amazing ideas. Like you know,
Yes. And
it
he
was
carries his entire collection, his library of sites, and he has posters behind him. Each one have like 20 effects. Yeah, he's probably carries like 100 effects. I kid you not. If you've never seen Anthony Gennard and you ask him to demo any one of them, and he can do it like that, it's crazy.
But
Just
that classic force too, man. Every time it's like you
yeah.
feel so natural. Just to like it's crazy.
He understands it's otherworldly. It's crazy. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. The other weird thing is just a small side note here. The going to Magi Fest in Ohio and the weather was phenomenal. Like so
Yeah,
that
that's true. It's
that
always
was
been snow. And
yeah. We had this beautiful like sunlight you could see that was just like on a pretty regular basis.
and
It
I
was
was just
nice and
wondering in the
warm.
comments right now, like, does Caleb look like he could be the third buck twin, like a buck triplet? 'Cause they're not identical twins. In this photograph, does he look like he could be a buck? Put Sybil cut in his hands right now. I'm just curious. Comment below. I'd love to know.
Could do like a dynamo. Like I
Yeah.
don't have cards on
I
me, but
never saw it till this photo. I was like, there you go. He's about the same height and everything. It's good. Anyway.
maybe. I don't know.
I'll go with my strange thing so we
Yeah.
can keep moving right along. My strange thing, which is, and I define strange as a beautiful, good thing here because we like strange, interesting things, was the popularity of Mr. Rick Holcomb. That's right. Rick was the star of the convention. Every single minute, somebody was stopping by the booth and they were saying, "That's Rick Holcomb." He was signing autographs. They're asking for his original.
He really was.
They're telling about how they subscribed. Rick dominated the popularity contest. I mean, he was voted most popular at the convention. And this was awesome. This was like, it was just so cool. And it's like, that guy's on my team. I mean, I was so happy for him. I was so proud. And both Caleb and I, we were loving it, watching people come up and say, "Hey, Rick, I love your YouTube channel. I love you." And so we're just hoping that Rick will give a shout out for the live stream here and draw more of his fans over here, because that was cool, man. It caught me off guard. That's all I'm saying about that. It was a wonderful thing, and that's more so than strange. It was beautiful, and congratulations, Rick, on your hard work and people taking notice. So congratulations.
Yeah, for sure.
Thanks. Thanks for everyone, watching. Well, now they seem like old videos that I've done, but yeah, I guess that's the cool thing about YouTube. Like every videos are just, evergreen. So they continue to help people and all those people, let me know that. And I was flattered and thankful. And yeah, for me, it's just all fun. So I'm glad other people are enjoying it and getting better with coin magic. So.
Oh, that was awesome. And I don't have the video queued up, but I'm going to post it, I think, on our Instagram. I got a great video of Rick demoing some Sly Palm stuff. Dude, it was so clean. Oh my gosh. I went over and stood behind the spectators so I could get their view. And it's just this, I mean, these productions and everything. If you haven't seen that, it's incredible. I don't even want to touch
really
it.
good.
I'm just like, man.
Yeah, I do one thing with Sly Palm. I have one vanish that I use. That's the main takeaway for me. I said, if you like more of that, go watch Rick.
For real. Well, can we real quick? We weren't planning on doing this, but can we talk a little bit about? I think there's one we want to hold back, but there's a couple things that we did debut at the convention, coin wise. That would be kind of cool to talk. I don't know if you have them with you, Jeff.
I can quickly get them if you can tell me what I need to go grab, because everything is packed up right here on the other side of the screen. Don't look the other side of this computer screen.
The shell would be cool.
Oh yeah, I could definitely tip that right now. So,
I meant to grab a shell so I could do some.
I didn't get. Oh man,
that's okay. With it.
All right, I'm gonna roll out of here.
If you have it right there, I want to, while you're doing that, roll it out. I want to say
we packed Barry. Up quick and got out of there because we were all exhausted.
We really did. But yeah, it was good meeting you as well, Barry. Good to see you. And more congratulations for you, Rick, for Shiloh and Matthew. It was just good to see people. Tim, I did hear Tim Hannig was there. I don't think I saw him, but it was good to see a lot of people there for sure. And here is a little quick video while we're waiting on Jeff to come back. This is Terry Ward. Let me see if I can actually add the audio to it so you guys can actually hear what's going on. This is Terry Ward performing in the lobby, which was really cool because that guy has done 40,000 shows at Disney World. So here's a little sample for you right now. So it's a little bit of a sample. No, it wasn't much, but it just shows you he had such good rapport with everybody, and he was just making jokes, and everybody was having a good time and bringing everybody in. He was so quick. At 40,000 shows, man, that's
40,000 shows.
It was insane to learn from a consummate performer like that. So, but here's the shell. Can you show the shell?
So honestly, we're gonna have these really soon. I looked. I don't have any left with the new insert, which is one of the things that's making our shell different. So I don't have anything. We sold all of them. So this is instantly a sun and moon gimmick. If you like, you can. It's gonna be a little bit louder because I don't have the insert in there, and it's right on the mic. But that's our shell. It's got 100% visual coverage and no noticeable expansion lines. There's nothing because a couple things have done different. This coin is minted directly to be the shell, and so there's no expansion. It is an expanded coin minted that way, and then that allows me to get the depth. I've got a unique insert that that I can describe, but I can't show you because I don't have it right now. It's the Kapton right here, and this is what's the remnant of it. But basically, this material may look a little familiar. This color, this is what's on the astronauts' visors in outer space is a Kapton foil, is my understanding. It's also what is on the satellites. Anytime you see like a gold sheen, it's Kapton foil. It's this thin polyamide tape, and this stuff is super thin. It's 1 mil thin, which is 1,000th of an inch. And so that's what's on the inside to silence the shell. The glue that holds the tape on is thicker than the tape. So why do we do that? One, it allows for the thinnest coin with the most coverage and allows my shell to be as thick at the top, make it more durable, and to give it more of a weight like a real coin. If you're doing some kind of something where the spectator picks up the coin, this shell feels like a real coin. Like now, obviously, it's not going to be the same exact weight because it is hollow on the inside. But when you pick it up, it will feel like a coin because it's got the right weight and texture and density on the walls. And this is one of the new copper silvers. So what I'm doing to create an instant sun and moon. This is technically a sun and moon. It's sun and moon coin may be manufactured a little bit differently, but that you can get that effect. And you can see the coverage on it is just, I mean, my copper silver coins just by nature have to be just a hair thicker than a regular coin. You can see the coverage on it. So they turned out phenomenal. So we were able to sell these. I sold all of them with the Kapton tape that I have. And I've got some more in stock. When the new Kapton tape comes in, the inserts I've ordered, we're going to get these up for sale pretty soon on the site. So look forward to that.
And it was cool for me because I could basically just explain what the coins were and hand them to people at the convention. And once you felt it, was like, whoa, and you can see just in the video that Jeff is showing, like the coverage on that is so good. And the weight, it's so hefty and it just feels solid, in your hands and in your performance. So yeah.
I think what really surprised people when I was demoing the copper silver routine is that I would just place the gimmick in their hand and just leave it there and just tell them to close it. There was none of this. Usually there's a sneaky stuff. You put a gimmick in somebody's hand, you close their hand for them and tell them to over. I just place it in their hand and say, okay, now close your hand and turn it over. And it's all relaxed because there's no tells of the gimmicks. And
we were having a hard time showing people the gimmicks because they all look like the regular coins. So we're trying to pick them up off the table like that's not the one. Here, this is the one.
Yeah, there was one time I was holding 2 copper silvers demoing the routine. I pulled myself. I was like, wait a second.
I remember that.
I didn't even know. So it was neat. I mean, you'd see the people every time rubbing the coins afterwards, even knowing copper silver gimmicks exist, and they're still giving me layman reactions. It was kind of interesting where it's like, all right, you guys you're doing that, you're looking, here's the coin over here. This is the coin you're looking for. And then I'd hand that out like, oh yeah, and they would swallow their pride.
Well, it was a lot of fun. And Shiloh says, I'll take a shell yesterday. So You know where to find us. Just email us. I think we can. I don't know if we have. Do we have any more of those we can do, Jeff? Or
Shells?
Mhm.
No, I have the shells cut in stock in the dollar size. We'll see about the $50. I might need to do a survey on that. We'd talk more, but I have the shells cut in the dollar size in stock. I just don't have the tape yet. And we want to put a teaching video together, just our history of the shell and stuff like that, like we did with the copper silver coin. So it's just a matter of recording that and getting that edited out. But it's coming up soon. So stay tuned. It should be this year for sure.
So that shell and that copper silver were the two big things, and then we had a huge new thing from this Mr. Rick Holcomb here, but we're gonna kind of keep that under wraps a little bit because we got that coming out really soon. If you're at the convention, you know exactly what it is, but everybody else, like, just consider that a privilege. When you were at the convention, you got to see what that was, because we're gonna release it coming up here. So
let's grab this home, Caleb. What else we got to talk about?
So the last little thing we want to talk about really quickly was a quick insight, a piece of knowledge, something that can help you improve your magic that we each saw from the convention. And I'll start real quick. Basically, there was a moment where like I said, we got to see Aussie Wind perform. And so all three of us got to see him hanging out up on the rooftop pool area with just a small group of people, and Jamie, Ian, Swiss, and we all were just kind of talking theory a little bit. And they were mentioning how to be an interesting magician, you want to be an interesting person, right? So it's just about enriching your own life, and looking at different types of art, and like having conversations with people and things like that. And that just being an interesting person, that having your own personality developing, will kind of infiltrate into your magic and make it better. So don't worry so much about how do I make my magic interesting? Like, make good magic, but also make sure you're an interesting person, as you're developing, so that will be more human, So that was an insightful moment for me. How about you, Rick?
Yeah, that conversation up by the pool, that was, deep and just really helpful, to listen to these pros talk about their own work and stuff. And then at the same time, I thought about this the day after and the day after, but from a dealer's perspective and demoing tricks and even watching some of the other dealers, you see kind of the opposite end of the spectrum with like these short visual, hard hitting tricks that are, most of the time quicker. And I like that stuff so much also. It made me really look at the stuff that I do, and that there's a place for each of these types of tricks. These more elongated storytelling, like deeper tricks, and then these just bam bam hit you like quick tricks too. And no matter how deep in theory you can get, I think the most important thing, and I'm still discovering this, is how do we create this texture within our magic where there's highs and lows, and just, I think that's where the interest happens. It's not always about forcing the interest. How can we vary everything for the audience so they're going on this ride of like, oh, quick cool trick, oh, deep interesting trick, oh, until the climax. But yeah, that's a never-ending journey.
Sure, of course,
yeah. I mean,
that's why I feel like it was great watching some of those pros, like in the Gala show, because they really know how to pull your emotions so that they go on a ride. You know?
Yeah, absolutely.
So, what about you, Jeff?
Well, I think just in general, anytime you get around a throng of people that are like-minded or trying to do the same thing or have the same kind of interests, it's just going to spark creativity. And I will say, for me personally, I'm a hard time step away from the booth. You guys saw it. I said, you guys go watch Paul, go watch these other demoers, watch Mark. So I would just kind of sit there and, catch the straggling folks, and had a lot of interesting conversations. And then the other thing, there's other dealers and people in the magic business who stopped by. So that was a lot of my conversations. Unfortunately, that distracts me from the magic because some of the business side of things that I had to take care of as a business owner, and that gives me the environment to do it. So what the most interesting thing to me was just being in that spirit and the exhaustion of it, which then sparked creativity. And I'll say where it really hit me was on the plane ride home. And it would not have happened had I not been in that environment, had not been in that exhausted state. Because the last night, there was some issues with our flights getting moved around with all the pandemic and stuff. And all of us ended up, what time we were at the airport? Was it 4:45 in the morning? So yeah, the
ungodly hour.
Yeah. The last night, the three of us got 3 hours of sleep, I think, total. No, maybe we all got 3 hours of sleep each. It wasn't enough to get on. So I got on the plane and I'm reading Anne Lamott as I have been the last couple of weeks. And this lady I'm convinced she's a magician. I don't know if you know Anne Lamott. But I was very receptive to hear her message, just as that was my decomposition because of the exhaustion of the convention. And she said something to the point that she's a writer. She's a writer, not a magician, but I'm convinced she is a magician because she understands magic on this super deep level. She's talking about writing, how people know that the author is lying to them. They're a storyteller. They're making the stuff up. They're lying. But she said, you know what? People want to be manipulated. I was like, what? People want to be manipulated. It's the same thing with magic, guys, gals, whoever's joining us right now. It's the same thing. People want to be manipulated, but they want this gentle massage manipulated. They don't want this beat over the head, feel like an idiot, or take advantage of me manipulation. People want to become a part of the story and get engrossed in it. People want to have this experience. And she is talking about wonder and stuff. And man, that just was, it was just like refreshing to see somebody else from another art get it and just say, you know what? People want to step in this experience, but is your magic inviting? Is it comforting? And like we talked about the other day, are you welcoming? Are you friendly? Are you kind? Are you going to be vulnerable with them before you ask them to be vulnerable with you? And it just dawned on me. And that was just a cool lesson. And so I kind of meditate on that as I'm going to do something mindless. I started watching A Star is Born with Lady Gaga and Bradley Cooper. And that was not mindless. That was super deep too. And I just cried through that movie. It's maybe not for everybody watching. It was probably a R-rated movie. There's some scenes I can't recommend. But it was just deep and spiritual and just a really cool journey of seeing people overcome and getting the passion for their art. So that was my main takeaway. The convention set that up for me on the way home for this beautiful, just calming down moment. So, yeah.
So we have, it sounds like, to wrap this up, we have such a wonderful art form that we all enjoy, and we love enjoying it with you guys. And we're happy to be here. We're happy to be back on a live stream with you. And we hope that this episode has brought you a little bit of insight, a little bit of picture of what happened there. And if you were there, maybe you saw a little different perspective. And if you weren't there, maybe you saw some things that you may have missed. And so hopefully this has been fun and helpful. And if you, as always, have any questions or anything, put those in the comments throughout the week. We can get to those and comments of the actual video. And you know where to send any kind of recommendations. Any kind of topic recommendations, any questions, anything like that, team at Copeland Coins. Look out for the new releases. And if there's nothing else, I guess we will wrap this up.
Thanks, guys. Thanks for your comments.
Beautiful magic.
Subscribe.